In my family, we've always manufactured. It's always been my life from a very young age. I've done nothing else but work very hard at the bench. To be involved with ICC, we never take these jobs for granted. We are immensely proud to be part of it. We embrace challenges. To be involved with the Cricket World Cup, to help bring the piece to fruition, is a real privilege for a manufacturer, a British manufacturer as well. The team that we've got is a spectacular group of artists. Some of them have won the Cartier Award, the country's most prestigious award for silversmithing or goldsmithing. The attention to detail that they need is just incredible, because they have to achieve a standard that is world class. So the pressure's on for them, but they need to feel their blood pumping. We're talking about the World Cup here. The pressure is on to deliver something that's a world class piece. It was well designed in the mid-90s by a gentleman named Paul Marsden. Paul thought about it very carefully and put together all the elements of cricket to create the cup. The piece weighs about 11 kilos. Its height is 650 millimetres tall. The base has a hardwood base.
It's always really exciting to do big, prestigious pieces. It's a lot of responsibility. We need to make sure it's right. You need to be artistic and creative to produce a nice, sort of organic looking design, but then also you need to have the maths behind it to work out how it's being made and do the drawings. Quite often you always start with 2D drawings, like drawings that have been done by hand, sketches, that sort of thing. It's always the starting point. And then any sort of computer-aided parts are always an addition to that. So it's never to replace sort of the handcraft, it's always to help and add to it. It's really exciting to be the first in the chain. My uncle always asks me every time I see him, how am I getting on, what am I up to this time? He loves his cricket, so he's really impressed. He always tries to get information out of me, interrogate me, get the old thumb screws out, yeah.
Manufacturing is incredibly difficult, and you have to have an inbuilt depth to create these pieces. The trophy initially looks fairly simplistic, but actually it's not. We've got some fantastic tapering forms on the stumps. All of that material has to be made first of all. None of the components you can buy. You can't say, I'll have one of those and one of those. Everything is manufactured from sheet. Silver sheet is literally cut by hand or cut by machine. These sections are fabricated by hand, as a blacksmith would make it.
You know, we all feel quite passionate at Ottewill when we're making sporting trophies, especially the Cricket World Cup. It's such a sculptural piece. It's a challenging piece to make, and there's lots of hammering. The stumps that come up the side, but that's all, first of all it's spun, and then you have to sort of swage it down, basically making the metal skinnier. It is immensely pleasing watching a trophy being lifted up that we've spent a lot of time working on.
Morning. So we're going to be working on the arms today. We get it from the Silversmiths all hammered up, and then we have to sand it down using our wheel, and then I'll pumice it up to make it smooth. My job is to make this a mirrored finish. It slowly gets there from being a rough bit of metal to something that looks incredible, and something that looks brand new as well. You can't see any dust on it, you can't see any scratches on it. It has to be perfect. Then we rinse it all and put it into our silver plating tank, and we apply power through it, and silver attaches itself to it. Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that.
Annealing means that we soften the piece, we take the tension out of the metal. So before we solder all of the components together, we need to make sure they're all relaxed. If we try and solder them all in one go, they'll buckle. If you've got the components of the cup immersed in flames, it's an incredible sight. It will then be soldered together with the other half of the sphere, with the seam around the centre as well. We'll solder the seam in, the two halves together, and the globe is complete. The concept of the piece encapsulates all of the elements of cricket. You have the stumps, the globe, the world arena is engraved on the top.
I started in '65, so near on 50 years. It's been my life. And a passion too. My wife says, I don't think you'll ever retire fully. I always love to go down to the workshop and tackle something new. Yes. You must be able to draw. As you can see, everything we do, before you can cut it, it has to be drawn. It's all done freehand first, drawn, then scribed, and then cut. So drawing skills are essential. The better drawer you are, the better engraver you'll be. I have my trusty globe here, which is imperative for getting all the latitude, longitude lines to start with. And then after that is marked out, we can scribe it with a fine scribing point to get everything accurate. I can then follow around the countries with a felt tip pen. It's a day's work just marking this out before I do any cutting at all. I've got a selection of cutters here that I use for different projects. Some of these handles are probably 200 years old maybe. You can pick a cutter up and it just won't feel correct. It's in you, it's in your hands. Yeah. Years and years of concentrating, and you pick up a cutter and you can just do it. I'm concentrating all the time, yes, I can't be distracted really, because one false move and you're going to mess the whole thing up. I've been doing this so long now that any job I can tackle without too many nerves. If I'm whistling at the bench, I know I'm doing it okay.
The skipper getting a century in a World Cup final.
That moment when you've won, looking back now, they're the special moments of your life. Just an incredible feeling, you know, the holy grail, the pinnacle of one-day international cricket.
It's an emphatic win for India.
It's when they fit it up, you suddenly realise how amazing it looks.
How many people have contested for that trophy?
Australia have won the World Cup.
World-class athletes contesting for this piece. There is a moment when the cup is lifted where there's a huge intake of breath.
Well, in 2003, I actually woke up with it. It was in my bed with me and my wife. You know, when you're at a place like Lord's, you just don't want to leave. The celebrations from that night were me being on Tom Moody's shoulders in the middle of Lord's singing our team song with the World Cup on the ground.
Hard to express what I feel today. I waited for 22 years, so surely the proudest day of my life.
We're really proud to be able to win in your own backyard in front of your family and friends. It's a wonderful achievement.
It's an honour, absolute privilege to be involved. To have the Cricket World Cup in our workshop, being made, being presented next year on our own turf, it's a magical moment.